Hello and welcome everyone on Unintentional Podcast Network. I'm going to get this right this time, Jeff. Two UWGB legends, Jeff Nordgaard and his sister, as you can see, Jeff's sister, Chari Knueppel Nordgaard. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Excited to be here, Sam. Thank you.
You know, I thought about this. I don't know if I ever asked either of you this. Are you guys the only brother-sister combo to have jersey retired at the same college?
God, I don't know. That's good Google option.
I tried. I think you are.
Get on ChatGPT. Come on, ChatGPT will figure that out.
I tried. So Reggie and Cheryl Miller are different colleges, but
right.
Were they crosstown? One was UCLA and the other was USC.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So I think you guys are. Actually, I really do think you are. I think that's
we'll just go with it. And then the extra thing would be the same number.
Ooh, forgot about that.
That would bring it.
And almost exactly the same amount of points.
Yes.
Really close.
Mm-hmm.
How far off?
I think Chari got me by like 5.
I was 1964, close? Jeff. You don't know. No, I beat you my semifinal game of my senior year conference tournament. And then
so it was like 30.
I think I had 20-some, my final game. Or no, it was probably about 50. I probably beat you by about 50.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Con 1, however, has beat me by exactly 100. That's how I know how many I scored. He was 2064. I'm 1964. So he's got the 2000. He's the 2,000 point scorer.
How many games did each of you play at GB?
Jeez, I think.
How do you guys not know this stuff?
I mean, what? We can Google it and find out.
30 years ago. 30 years ago.
I would think. I don't know, just because I guess I never played at any level. I would think if I did that level, I would know every little statistic and stat.
I feel like I used to know everything that I did in high school until I got to college, and then I knew everything I did in college and forgot some of high school, and then I played for a long time after that, so I forgot. Like sometimes we'll get together with a group from college, and I vividly think of Todd Hasenfeld saying, "Nordy, remember when this happened and this happened and this happened, and you made that shot and you passed that?" Like, nope. But when I do my memoirs, I'm going to have you there to help.
I find it's the point guards that remember everything. Like Becky Knutson, she remembers everything. I don't know anything. I remember way more of my kids' stuff now. So it's probably similar to you, Jeff. Like I'm living vicariously through my kids. I didn't have as long of a pro career as you, but yeah, I don't remember very much from college, really. But I remember a lot.
I'm trying to find it on my phone here.
I was going to say, put your readers on.
Yeah, I can't see anything without them.
I would think Jeff played more than, because you went to the NCAA tournament 3 times and I only went 2. So at least 1 or 2 more games or 3.
Played in 120. I don't. I got to go back to Chari now. Yeah. You're supposed to have researched this, Sam.
Hey, this wasn't on the agenda.
I know. There's something that's got to keep you guys on your toes.
Yes.
Kind of thought of it.
I would think, I wonder if you played more minutes or if I played more minutes, Jeff. Like, because I started my freshman year, but you played like 39.9 minutes a game your senior year.
Yeah, so, I think you probably played more minutes just because I didn't. I started like a handful of games my freshman year. But that can't find it right off the bat. I can't find Chari's.
Okay.
She's not quite as famous.
You guys are 4 years apart, age-wise?
Yep.
Okay.
4.5. Yeah. 4.5. Because you're February 73 and I'm 77.
4 grades.
Yeah, okay. 4 grades.
So obviously I'm having you guys on because of Con too, which we'll get to. But I do want to talk. You guys, I feel like sometimes you guys get talked about and then it just kind of gets brushed to the side. I know Jeff felt a little snub from Bill Simmons today on the Bill Simmons podcast. There wasn't enough.
I didn't feel a snub as much as I just wanted him to expound on the 96 draft and the 13 games that I entered in the NBA and all that. But more than that, I was surprised that he didn't realize that Chari and Con were all-time leading scorers and that Con too has four brothers that are ballers.
Yes.
But he's self-admitted not a college basketball guy. He's an NBA fan, so he may not have seen every Duke game where they explained all of the kids and everything that Chari and Con did in college.
I think Bill appreciated all the stuff Con too knew. You know,
yeah, oh, for sure.
You know, the opposite way. Yeah, I know for sure he did. Like, yeah, he appreciated all the knowledge that Cantu had.
It's interesting to me, and Jeff, you and I talked about this, I think, last time. We probably talked in October. Like all these people that do podcasts, even like Bill Simmons, who's like a top level, like what kind of research they do or what kind of research they don't do. And like I've said previously, it's like there's a lot of information you can find out about Con. All you have to do is watch some YouTube videos in high school. Like all those games are on YouTube. And people are like, I don't really know what kind of game he's got. And I'm like, it blows my mind the lack of, and you guys just made fun of me for my research of not knowing your games, but like how little some of these people know about Con and like what his background is and all that stuff, even going into the family stuff too. But that stuff surprises me. And there's still a draft expert guy that can't pronounce his name correctly, the last name correctly.
Which guy?
Oh God, now I gotta. Starts with an F. His last name starts with an F.
Not Fanta.
No, it's not Fanta.
No, John Fanta knows him.
Yeah.
Is it John? That's John Fanta too. Now I gotta. I'm just gonna do a quick search here.
They better say his name right.
Knueppel.
They better say his name right at the draft.
Fantasy? Is it Fantasy?
No. Hang on. Adam Finkelstein.
Oh yeah.
I think he calls him Knueppel. And I'm like, come on, man. Like 1 year ago, that would have been fine.
Right.
But no.
It's okay. Hey, Connie is used to being like underappreciated, lower expectations, exceeding expectations, and all of that. So he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Yeah. So those of us here in this little room here, we can care, but he doesn't care. It's not going to affect him one way or the other. But yeah.
So I want to go back to you two, because we hear a lot about your guys in college. How was it like? What was it like growing up? Like when you guys were younger? How did you guys play against each other a lot as kids? And like, how competitive were you guys against each other? Like, what was the dynamic growing up?
Yeah, we didn't really. She was 4 years younger, and I had three sisters, all younger, and I imagine Chari played with Cammie eventually, but not really with me. And I don't even remember honestly, Chari, how much I taught you basketball, more than you just kind of watching and saying, "Hey, I want to do that. I want to be like that." So yeah, I don't know if that dynamic was really there that you sometimes hear about, like Reggie and Cheryl, like Cheryl would beat Reggie, and then someday Reggie caught up or whatever. But it wasn't really that dynamic, was it, Chari?
It never was. No, because we were 4.5 years apart. And so that's just too much for a boy and, a sister and a brother. I was lucky. So I remember watching and learning from Jeff, watching him. Like I would literally sit on the front stoop and watch he and his team friends play in our front yard, on our basketball court. Yep. And so a lot of people say I learned through osmosis just by watching that. So I saw Jeff's competitiveness and just how he, his work ethic and how he worked at it, a lot of the times, even in the winter out on our driveway. So I remember seeing those things. And the thing that really sticks out to me is watching him play with his teammates. And then he also won the state tournament, got third. They went to state, which was huge for us. They went to state and he got third his senior year. So that was a big thing, so just seeing the commitment to working hard and how he, with this little small town, was able to have success. So I learned a little bit through that. But I was lucky enough then also to play. I played with our older sister, Julie, who is 3 years older than me. And then I also played 2 years with Cammie, who is 1.5 years younger than me. So that was awesome. That was like just the joy of joys, being able to play with your sisters. I played with both of them in volleyball and basketball.
How much did you guys get to see each other play in college? I'm assuming, Jeff, you probably didn't get to see Chari much because you were probably NBA at that point, right? Or whatever, and then gone.
Right. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see a lot. I saw her play her freshman year, which was my 5th year at GB. But, you know how it is. The guys are on the road when the women are at home, and vice versa. So there's not a whole lot of games to see. It was really, really cool that she had such early success that there was, I don't know, a kind of I don't want to say hype. Hype is the wrong word, but a storyline about the brother and sister doing well at GB at the same time. Even like a life-size stand-up that says, you know about Jeff Nordgaard, but how about his sister Chari?
Yeah, cardboard cutout. There was a cardboard
cutout, kind of promoting the women's program and Chari specifically. So that was cool. And then I did get to see her a couple times during my professional career. One of them was extra significant when they played in the conference tournament at Butler. And that's where I met my wife, Alexis. She was a former player at Butler, and she was there watching as well. And then another time out in California in the NCAA tournament out in LA, got to go to that one. But unfortunately, not as many as I would have liked to. Obviously, she had a record-setting career, and it would have been fun to see more. But happy that I got the opportunity that I did.
Chari, did you get to see Jeff much at all, or no?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it kind of almost like core memories going to watch him play his senior year. So his 5th year and my freshman year, like driving to the Brown County Arena, to go watch him and his teammates play. And they were having such a great year that year. And then some other ones I think about when I was a senior in high school and he played in, I forget, because you played in Dallas and you played in
Austin when you were
yeah. So we drove to both of those. One when I was in college and one when I was a senior in high school. And literally, I did not miss a day of school because my dad was a school counselor. So he didn't have any like personal days or anything like that. So we literally drove to Dallas and back for Jeff's game. And I was back and I evidently had enough time to like tan at the pool, at the hotel pool. So I told one of my buddies, I said, yeah, he goes, why are you so tan? You've been to the tanning booth, whatever, like gross, And I said, no, I was in Dallas this weekend. He's like, no, you weren't, like it was just like, no, my brother was playing an NCAA tournament. So those are some really cool memories going to watch Jeff in the NCAA tournament. And then, lots of other memories after you were done playing, Jeff. I don't know if you remember this, but remember I used to be like your number one rebounder when you were getting ready for the NBA.
I was done playing college. Yeah.
Yeah. When you were working out in Green Bay and I was rebounding for him a bunch. And first of all, it's the men's ball. Okay. So it's heavy and whatever. And then he's like shooting from the NBA range. And I'm just like, can we hire another rebounder? Like, I don't want to be doing this. But anyway, I think that got me a little bit into my, my career of professional rebounder for my 5 boys.
So when you get there, Chari, did you feel like a lot of pressure because of how well, Jeff was coming off, whatever? Was there any bit of pressure at all or no? Like, oh my God, I got to be the next Nordgaard? Yeah,
I didn't really feel it. I thought that cardboard cutout was funny, like, hey, have you met Chari? Jeff, have you met Chari Nordgaard? And no, I had so much to learn. I played like a 2-3 zone. I played the middle of the 2-3 zone all of my high school career. So I had to get there. And, Green Bay was a defensive school, even on the women's side then. And so I had so much to learn. And like, I'd never worked so hard in my life. So it was beating me down or whatever. But so I was happy once we got to games and I could just like, okay, get me the ball and I score. This basketball's, like my dad says, basketball's an easy game. So I didn't really feel the pressure. Maybe I would have if things hadn't gone as well as they, did my freshman year.
Sure. Okay. Well, speaking of freshman year, let's get into a little bit of Duke freshman year for Con 2. I want to more so talk about your experience, Chari, because we always hear from Con. He's always on these interviews and stuff, and we always get a lot of what he kind of went through. I want to know like your experience from the start of, I guess, the season. I mean, you were at every game, but kind of like, and I kind of put in our notes, like kind of some highlights or some lowlights, but any kind of worries you had during the season, just kind of how it all went for you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've been saying to everybody that I talked to, this was the best year of my life. It was like, my middle school boys won state and nationals for Lutheran. My two high school boys won the state tournament for the second year in a row. And Con 2 was a starter, played the most minutes at Duke. Like, so often Con 1 and I would look at each other. We're like, our kid plays for Duke. Like, it was mind blowing. So yeah, highlights are, the first like preseason game that they play in. There comes Connie from warming up, and he takes off his he takes off his warm up because he's going to start. Yeah. Like that's I think of that, and that's just chills. And then it just kept going, and then one of his first dunks in the one of the first preseason games. That's a highlight. And then you keep going, and there are lows. Like a basketball season is very long, and there were times where, a couple of those losses where no shots were falling, and that was tough. And you're on a huge stage, so everybody has something to say about it, And so a poor 19-year-old kid has to deal with all of that when he's kind of at his maybe lowest as well. So another high then would probably be the ACC tourney. Right. That was amazing. Like we're all scared because Malik goes out and Cooper goes down and Con 2 steps up like crazy. So that was awesome. And then I would say another one would be the Alabama game to bring us to the Final Four, where he had like 21, 5-5 or something like that. So lots of highs, lots of a few lows, but more highs than anything. And like his decision, it was the best decision for him. He set himself up for life, and he, he's kind of sad to be gone. He said it was like the best year of his life too. Like he says, I'm going to miss those guys. Will basketball ever be the same? That it was this year. This year was pretty special.
Have you rewatched the Houston game or no?
No,
I haven't either.
Too Jeff, early.
I have not watched anything from it. Nothing. I don't know that I will.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I obviously there's memories in your head about if this goes this way, if this guy doesn't step out of bounds, if this guy makes a shot here, if this turnover doesn't happen, or this call doesn't go against Cooper or whatever. There's plenty of things, what ifs, and all it needed was one of them to go the right way, and Duke would have been playing on Monday night. But no, I don't think I'm going to watch it.
I might watch the first half.
right until the end, when you need to stop. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no part of me ever thought we were losing that game. Like, in the planning, because we were planning for, who was going to be there, who was using the tickets. My little boy, my two high schoolers, Cager and Kinston, did not come to that game. They wanted to stay and play in their AAU, their new AAU team games, in Milwaukee. Right. I said, okay, you know what? I don't agree with it, but they were adamant. So I was like, we'll fly you in on Monday. It's no big deal. So no,
with the assumption they'd be there for Monday's game.
There was never did it cross my mind that we wouldn't win and we wouldn't be playing Monday. So yeah, that was huge shock, and yeah, all of it. And it just obviously it ruined the weekend, because we were going to have a really fun weekend. San Antonio is an amazing city. It was so great. And Jeff was there, and my sister was there, and all sorts of family, and it was just supposed to be this great weekend. And so that was the saddest day of my life.
Makes sense. It was mine too.
Yeah. And you know what I say? Yes. It's probably means we have a pretty good life. If a basketball game that isn't, nobody died and whatever, that means we probably have a pretty good life. But yeah, it was, yeah.
So we're a week out from the draft, and I like you just said about how you're like, God, my kid, our kid's playing for Duke with Con. And I was talking to Jameson about it. And I'm like, can you believe he's going to be most likely a top 5 draft pick? Like, it's just so strange, because I think to myself, and one of the questions I had on here was, did anything surprise us about the year? But I want to segue to by saying this. I did a podcast with Siebert a little over a year ago after we won the Holy Cross tournament, and we were talking about Con and how good he was. And even on that podcast, you listen back to it, we were like, maybe he'll be at Duke 2 years. You know, maybe he'll be good. He'll be playing like from 14 months ago to what it is now. I have to admit, I have to think even you, Chari, are a little surprised. Like, 14 years ago, I can't imagine you would have thought to yourself, he's going to be a top 5 draft pick.
So I'm on X, unfortunately, I mean, like I read comments and whatnot, but there was somebody from the Charlotte Hornets, and I don't know who it was, but it was reported that they were playing pickup, I don't know during the K Academy or if it was like early in June. And one of the pros was watching because they were just there, like, I don't know, watching Duke pickup games. Or maybe they were in Charlotte. I think they did a training week in Charlotte at Charlotte Hornets. And one of the Charlotte Hornets pros was watching. And the guy was quoted as saying he's a top 5 pick. I read that and I'm like, what? Come on, let's, don't get mama too excited here, So, I mean, that was out there. And then I remember when we were moving him in exactly a year ago today, we were moving him into the dorm. And this was after they had been in Duke for a couple of weeks. And John Shire came in and said, are you guys ready for the hype train for Con? So it kind of started, but I think that John Shire would probably admit that he thought Con was a 2 or 3 year guy until maybe those first early games. Like he just came in shots blazing, I guess. I don't know. Like he was really, really good right away.
Before he showed up in Durham, the discussion point was, is he going to be 7th, 8th man, maybe 9th man? Is he going to transfer out because he's not going to get playing time? Showed up at Durham and it went to, he's going to be a starter. He might be a first round draft pick. All right. Then the game started and it kept going up. However, there was let's say the first month of the season, he had some highs and he had more lows than maybe we expected. And I had an NBA scout that contacted me and I was talking Con up and he said, I really like him. I think, eventually he'll be an NBA guy, probably a couple of years at Duke and he'll be an NBA guy. And this was probably somebody that wasn't quite, tuned in yet on it. I go, I think he's a one and done, but you'll see. And then 3 weeks later, oh, hold on a second here. Yeah. We really, really like him. You were right about him. So, and then even, I don't know, let's call it prior to the ACC tournament, it was like, okay, I think he's got a chance to be a lottery pick. And now we're talking about probably top 5. It won't be a disappointment if he drops out of the top 5, but that's where the people that know what they're talking about are saying. Potentially a top 5. So it's wild how it goes in such a weird spot or weird waves and route.
Yeah.
Well, I remember it was Quinn Cook that tweeted that about the top 5 pick, and I think that was October when we were in the Dells for work. I think I think that's when it was, and even at that point, you were like, "Well, this is a little crazy," but
this guy's going a little out of hand here. Yeah,
but it's amazing because I think it was when he was was it for maybe the Jordan game when he was working out when it was like the first, there were some tweets about him about he might be an NBA player next year. I mean, that was like June, right? Was that June or even May? I mean, that was like a 2 month time frame. It like just snapped.
That was early June, I believe.
Yeah. So it was like 2 months,
because he was still homesick and he was mad he wanted to come home instead of go to that camp. That's good. Whatever. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then he showed that he could play some defense actually. And then he was shooting the crap out of the ball, I think, there too. So yeah.
How's the draft process been for you, Chari? I mean, how involved are you in? I mean, I know you talked, I'm sure about it, but kind of what's the vibe there the last few weeks?
Well, so yeah, he's been traveling to some workouts for the last 3 weeks. So, so he's kind of just been in and out. So we're kind of missing him around here, like the brothers wake up, they're like, where's Connie now? And so it was nice to have him home for like 4 weeks for his pre-draft workouts, before the lottery and that sort of thing, because he was here in Milwaukee. But now, yeah, we're kind of just like counting down the days because, I mean, this is probably the last couple days he'll be home before he leaves because we'll leave on Monday morning early to New York. And then on Thursday, the draft Wednesday night, and then Thursday morning, we'll likely fly to his city, wherever he gets picked, for a couple days, maybe fly home and then back to the city for Monday practice. And then he's just there, and in the work world and not living here probably ever again in his life. And so that's kind of wild to think about for your 19-year-old. I guess he's almost 20, but yeah. But so it's been great. I mean, they're kind of like the season, there's ups and downs. You would hope that you hear that he just, blew the socks off people at the workouts, so there were some that were really good, some that, could have gone better, I mean, that's according to Cantu, who is a very hard grader on himself. So I don't know, maybe he did really awesome at all of them, but anyway, it's so hard because you have no idea. Like Cooper Flagg and his family are so lucky. They've had this month and a half where they've been able to they're like, okay, we're gonna, find a house in Dallas and, know exactly where they're going to be and start getting to know everybody, in the program that they're going to be at, and we're just like, we wait till Wednesday night. And even then there can be trades.
Sure.
A lot of unknown, which is not something I love.
Do any of the teams do you talk to any of the teams that are involved in this? You don't. Nothing.
No. And in fact, I asked the agent, I said, do I get to go with Connie to any of the workouts or anything? Can I get myself in there? And they said, nope, the agent doesn't even go with them. So Connie was on his own and figured all that out himself. So, and so we just sit home and wait to hear reports from Connie, who mostly likes to just talk to us about like, hey, look at the new Lego set I'm putting together. He doesn't even want to talk about the basketball or how it went or whatever. It was fine. It was good. It was cool talking to this guy, that guy, this city's really pretty, whatever. But like, we don't get much. Maybe there's other like moles out there that have more information than us, but we don't get much.
Okay. I'm just going through some other notes from our text. So what else do we want to bring up? Anything that Bill Simmons forgot to talk about? Should we talk about the other four boys? Because I know that any Duke fans that are listening are going to want to hear about the other four boys and how it's going.
Yes. Well, Cager's 6'8" barefoot now. So that's awesome. And his growth plates are still open. So we can start with that.
That's the number one talking point within our family is our growth plates.
His growth plates?
Mm-hmm. Not necessarily his, just all the kids in general.
Yeah,
right. Anytime somebody gets injured or something and they get an x-ray, we're like, well, what's the real report? Are the growth plates open or not?
Right. How's the AAU season going for we'll start with Cager.
Yeah, well, that's frustrating because he's had a hamstring injury. So he did really well. He shot like 60% from 3 in Memphis. And that was the first weekend that coaches could be out watching. That was the EYBL. So he's on 16U Nike EYBL Team Hero. So he played really well then. And then the very next weekend, we were in Kansas City and he popped his hammy and had to pull out. So he didn't do as well. So he's been sitting now. He's been resting for 3-4 weeks. And he's hopefully playing this weekend for Wisconsin Lutheran in the high school evaluation period. So, today was the first day he practiced. And his brother Kinston, who's a rising sophomore, said, yeah, Cager was really slow today. He was really bad. So, I don't know that he's going to be 100. He's like 100% not 100% this weekend. So injuries are kind of, they're stinky for us. So, but he's, this week was the first week that schools could call juniors, rising juniors. Yep. So he had, he talked with Marquette and BYU, Syracuse, Western Michigan, Toledo. I'm trying to think a couple others, but yeah. So the recruiting season has opened for Cager.
You don't have to answer this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Have you had conversations with Shire over the last year about Cager? Like, has that just in I mean, it doesn't have to be anything serious, but I'm assuming it's had to have come up at some point, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
They were in Memphis. He and Carol watched Cager in Memphis. So
Okay.
Yes. So he's Cager's interest and and so he just got to keep working at it. So he knows that. So he's just got to keep getting better. Good thing is that he's got another whole year yet before things get really real.
Yeah. And
they didn't know who Khan 2 was at this point in his
they didn't. You're right. Good point, Jeff. Yes. Yep. So some people have called like our AAU, like I think Kentucky called our AAU director and was like, hey, should I even try to recruit him, or is he just a Duke guy?
That's funny.
What?
Yeah. It's funny because of Cantu, all of these coaches that passed on him are now going to be like way like over, not whether Cager deserves it or not, but they're going to overcorrect completely, right? Like,
there we go. Hey, I'm good with overcorrection.
Right. Exactly. You're going to get a ton of calls, ton more than Cantu probably ever got, just because of how well he did.
If he ends up being a 6'10",
yeah,
period, like anything, and he can shoot, he can shoot really well. So I asked Cager, I said, are you just a 100% Duke guy? And he goes, no, I'm open. I'm like, okay. I'm like, dude, okay. You just think you're lucky stars if Duke comes.
Well, hey, I could always use another trip to Duke. So I would be hoping he wants to go to Duke.
Sam, and you should come all the time. Like every time you went to Duke game, Connie had 20 or more, right? So you were the good luck charm.
I'll take that. I'll go to every NBA game if I can.
Okay. All right. There we go. Then you're probably hoping Eastern Conference.
I don't care. Like I said, I would love Charlotte because I would love to go to Charlotte. You go to a couple of Charlotte Hornet games, and then you go to a Duke game in between too. Be a perfect trip.
Yep.
How's Kinston doing? I saw a little bit. You guys were at Team Marquette, the Marquette camp last weekend.
We did. Yep. And he did very well. He's just coming off a stress fracture in his foot. Okay. So that's frustrating. But so he was a little bit, his timeline was a little bit quicker than Cager's. And he moved better than we thought. He shot the ball really well. He's strong. He's, a little thicker than Cager, a little bit more like Cantu. And so I think Wisco is going to be really exciting. I think, goodness gracious, they have Xavier at 6'7", Kinston probably going to be 6'7" by then. Cager 6'9", let's say right now. Riley Walls, who's a smart point guard, maybe he'll get to 6 foot by, the season, but that's 4 players that can spread the floor and shoot threes at a very high clip. And then they have a real big football guy in the middle.
Yep.
Jamel is his name. He's going to be a Division I football player. Like it's wild. But yet you see his like arm go up and get a rebound and like pushing people around. Remember Jace Gilbert from Arrowhead?
Yep.
Remember Arrowhead's Jeff in our boys last year?
Oh yeah. From Arrowhead. Yeah.
That's who he reminds me of. So like, I'm real fired up about Wisco. So anyway, he did really great back for the first weekend back from being injured. And little Cash, my freshman, he got a couple of minutes in there. So we'll see how that goes.
How tall is Cash now?
6'3".
Jesus.
Yeah.
How tall is Kidman? Kidman's a smaller one, right? I mean, he is the youngest one, obviously, but he's not as tall as the other kids have been going up, right?
He is not. Yes, he's been the shortest, but he's always been a point guard in his life, so that might be okay. And
all growth plates are still open with all 4 kids.
They better all be open for him still. Jeepers. All 4 of them better have open growth plates. So, yeah.
Well,
but I mean,
Go ahead.
I was just saying, like, how we had Cantu's recruiting was like 2 years before like Cager, but like, so Cager's recruiting is starting right now. And then we might not even have it completed before we start Kinston. And then like, it's just going to be one after the next, cause they're all 4 years in a row. You hope, like fingers crossed that they will all be recruited. You never know. But like, we kind of had this like period where it was all about Connie's recruiting. And now it's not going to be that. It's going to be Cager, and then a little bit of Kinston, a little bit of Cash, all that. So anyway, and then Connie's just out doing his thing.
So the last thing I have on my agenda, we'll wrap up with the three of us, and then we have another guest coming on, which people are probably listening like, what's going to happen here? I want to just talk about player comps. We discussed this last year, Jeff, and Chari, I've never discussed with you. What do we? Because I really struggle finding the comp for him. Aside from doing just the random white guys that make sense, but have we settled more on an NBA comp for him?
So I've thought about it a bunch, and then today I actually wrote down some notes, so I have to put my glasses on. So first thing that I have to go old school back to my Celtics fan days from when I was Larry Bird, and Danny Ainge isn't a bad comp. Danny Ainge can shoot the lights out like Con. Danny Ainge is 6'5". Con, let's call him 6'5.5". Danny Ainge is a 2, which I think is Con's position. But also Danny was able to create with the ball, which Con is really good at as well. I think Con's going to be able to defend threes, which maybe Ainge couldn't. But the other thing about it is they are around every loose ball. Danny was a tough guy. I know Con's not cheap like Danny was, but I mean, in the
now he's not going to draft him.
What's that?
Now he's not going to draft him.
No. I think he might, but I didn't mean like there was arguments back in the day that he bit Tree Rollins or whatever else. So he's one of them, and one other older school guy that I thought about, similar height, elite shooter, Dale Ellis. And again, these are two guys from the 80s and Dale Ellis from the early 90s, trying to get some different eras that people aren't necessarily thinking about now. And also, I don't want to just pick every white guy that played in the NBA. Right. I heard somebody say on Twitter, Alex Caruso. Like, no, Alex Caruso, just because they're white and they work hard does not make a good comp. Alex Caruso is a defensive stopper that can make some threes. Yeah. Con is a 3-point stud who can create off the dribble and is a better defender than people think. They're not a comp at all. Like, you're not, as far as that sense. And another one that I know Con would love to be is Clay. And I think potentially, in a perfect world becomes that level of a shooter. We'll see, because we're talking about a top 3 shooter of all time. But Clay does not put the ball on the ground. He does not dribble. He goes games where he dribbles less than 10 times. Again, Con is a playmaker and can create off the dribble and in pick and roll. So I don't know that comp is perfect. Kyle Korver seems like an easy one, white shooter from the Midwest, but one that's been in the news recently that I think might be a really good one is Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is a high-level shooter, not an elite defender, but a good defender, can create off the dribble, rebounds, does some other things than just knock down threes. And the other thing about him is he's not extra long for his height, which Con isn't. Con is a little bit longer than his height. Desmond Bane is actually a little bit shorter than his height, which is crazy for the NBA because it's just almost a prerequisite to be longer than your height. But I think that's another one that is a comp that maybe people don't think about.
Chari,
thoughts?
I have no idea.
I've heard the Bane. I've heard the Desmond Bane.
Oh, you have? Okay, I had not heard
Bane's,
that. Okay.
Bane's been a normal one. Because you hear like Bane, Kennard, Gordon Hayward. I thought Mike Miller.
I had never heard Bane, so I guess I thought I was starting something cool, but I guess I'm not. Cool.
What about Mike Miller?
Yeah, I think Mike Miller's a little taller. But yeah, that could be something similar. Yeah.
I'll do this because it wouldn't be a podcast of mine without some hyperbole, as you know, Jeff. Are we sure? Because this comp was brought up in the beginning of the year, and I have some notes. I've been writing down notes for the last, I don't know, probably 3 months. Are we sure at some point we're not going to look back and go that Luka was the comp?
I don't think we are, because I don't think he's going to have the ball in his hand the way Luka does.
Correct. That's the one piece. But like, it's like a really similar. Luka played against grown men as he was growing up. Khan's done the same thing.
I get that
different level, right? Their games are very similar. Khan's works harder on defense than Luka does, without a doubt.
Yeah, their games aren't very similar.
Well,
he works hard. Luka doesn't.
In that aspect,
Khan takes threes off of staggers and flares. Luka takes threes off of the dribble.
But you wonder if you let he went a whole year basically playing not how he's played in high school, right? Like he was always on ball, always, like you just said, playmaker.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if at the next level he goes to a team and he's a playmaker for the next 2 years, whatever, and he's Luka. Like, I don't know. We saw we just talked about how in 14 months how something changed so drastically.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even bring up, like, look at Halliburton. Look how much Halliburton changed so drastically. Like, I just think to myself, there's so much of Luka in his game, and I'm like, what if we, like, in a year and a half, we're like, well, there you go, that was the comp, and we just totally missed it because we didn't want to, we don't want to have a little hyperbole on the podcast.
Well,
right,
it's going to have to end up being right fit then, if that's going to be
correct. But
right?
I think
it's going to be it's going to be somebody believing that he can create in the way that Luka does and give the ball in his hands, where he is right now pigeonholed as kind of probably the 3-point shooter.
Right. And we're three of the biggest Cantu fans that are out there in the world.
Right.
And
that is true.
To say that he is going to, you're comparing him to a guy that's in the top 5 of the MVP discussion the last 3-4 years. Not this year because of injuries and different things, but I mean, there was a couple years ago where he probably, his stats were way better than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that was this year and who won it. So we're as much as we're, loving Khan and would love him to be there, we're talking about a MVP of the league.
Yeah.
Right.
Comps, I was trying to comp guys that were all-stars or on the border of all-stars.
Sure.
Again, Clay is a multi-time all-star, which would be, I think, a wonderful, wonderful, I don't want to say pipe dream because that's the wrong word, but
right.
if you're setting a goal, that would be a wonderful goal to get. Ainge was a couple-time all-star. Bain was just short of an all-star. Corver was a one-time. Dale Ellis, maybe a one-time. Whatever. So Luka is a all-NBA every year type guy. But
the thing about Connie is that he's always overachieved.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's always overexceeded people's expectations. So let's just dream big. That's what I think.
So to be fair, in my notes I have, if you gave K2 the offense and ran everything through him, are we sure he can't be Luka? So it's an if. It's an if. The other thing I have written, let's not forget this. Your prime is aged like late 20s. He's 19. Like, he's going to get a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Right, for sure.
A lot better. So, it's tough to do comps because, their ceilings of those comps are their prime, I guess. And I don't know in 5 years what it's going to look like. I've known, like you said, like Sherry just said, he's overachieved at everything. Like, he's always been the best on his team. He's always been an awesome teammate. Like you said, let's dream big.
Well, and the other thing that you're saying about that is that gives him let's say 8 years to get better. He has every single year gotten better, and that's what has set him apart. I think, he was better in June this year than he was in March at the state tournament, before he went to Duke. And then in November to February, he was better, went at his time in Duke. So he is a kid that does put in the time to keep getting better each year. So there is let's
right.
go.
But we're also probably not saying that Khan is going to be month one, the same comp as what we're comparing these guys in their prime. Danny Ainge wasn't that special when he first showed up.
Sure.
Nor was Dale Ellis, and who knew Desmond Bain when he first showed up? You know what I mean?
Right.
So we're comparing their prime to when are we comparing Khan to it?
Right. Yeah.
First season, probably.
Well, because there's going to be a big adjustment and learning period. You would think.
For sure.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Sure. I mean, now it's going to be his full-time job, so he'll work even more at it. I don't know. If I would have told you in February of last year that he was going to be a top 5 pick, I think that would have sounded crazier than right now me saying that his comp could be Luka.
Yep.
And look where we are. Like,
right. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
So I really hope that he gets a chance to play with the ball in his hands a lot, because I think when you take the ball out of his hands, you take away so much of what makes him such an amazing basketball player.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, that, I mean, as much as like Duke was Duke and they had all the talent and you had Cooper and all that stuff, like you saw it in the ACC tournament. Like, I don't know, maybe we should have given him the ball a little bit more. Maybe we should have had him running point a little bit more throughout the season,
Maybe.
Yeah, right. So like, you get my point. So I don't know. Maybe some NBA GM will listen to this and be like, oh, maybe we'll run him at point. I don't know. All right. Well,
all I know is I wouldn't want to be point going up against OKC's defense. Holy cow! Like what they got, it's another level. But there's no doubt that Con can create and handle it and finds the open man.
All right. I just texted him, by the way. I don't know if you wanted to yell to him, Sherry, but I texted him to come on in. So those who didn't realize that at some point we're going to have Con on his podcast.
He told me to stop talking. He said, "Stop talking so much." Let me go get him.
Okay.
K2.
Jeez, you got on. Want a smaller screen?
What's Connie?
Hello.
Con.
How's it going?
You want to scooch over, baby?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So Sherry, you can stick around as long as you want. It's up to you. I was gonna swap you guys out completely, but maybe this is a little bit fun. Have a little mother-son talk here.
Sure.
So Bill Simmons last night, the unintentional tonight. I mean, does it get any bigger and better than that?
No, I think it's much bigger today.
There you go. There you go. How was that experience? I didn't even know that was happening. All of a sudden, I think it came across my Twitter feed. I'm like, oh, and I'm a huge Bill Simmons fan. I'm like, oh, Con was on Bill Simmons. I can't believe no one told me.
Yeah, well, we filmed it yesterday, so there it is.
I have it on my shelf in my family room. I got both of them.
It was pretty sweet. Just being a big fan of his for a long time, and just the way he was able to control the conversation, and it seemed very natural. We never talked to each other before, so I thought it was pretty cool. I haven't watched it. I probably won't watch it because I can't. But
you don't like to watch your stuff?
I was going to say maybe you can't. Okay.
Yeah, but it was pretty special experience.
I
would just like to point out Jeff has a way better podcast background than you do.
Well, normally I have. All right, you want me to do this, Con? I'm in my studio. I have a studio.
He's got a studio. Look at Connie. I got Dawson up there doing.
All these. We're gonna see them when we're there this weekend.
Like I got my studio. You want me to hang some Duke jerseys in the back?
Yeah, I want to see a little flavor.
I can put my little.
You saw what Simmons had. He got Larry Bird smoking a cigar. He's got Celtics things over here.
My little Cameron Indoor Lego.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Lego model. Okay. Well, we
shouldn't really be saying anything. Look at our background.
Yeah, I mean,
all the doors.
That was Jeff's critique.
I'm
not happy about that.
You have a podcast.
Well, we discussed your brothers since Bill didn't apparently know that you had 4 brothers.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun.
You could have expanded. You could have said, yeah, one of them 6'9".
I don't know if he's 6'9". He's way taller than me, but I don't know.
Are you sick of all the interviews yet? This is an interview. We're just talking. We all know each other, so we're just kind of hanging out.
But I haven't done too many of them, so
yeah.
So not really.
We won't get into specifics of teams, but how have all the workouts been?
Good. Yeah, I mean it's really cool if you like basketball, getting to see all these cool people. But like GMs and coaches and getting to meet all these important people in basketball, but also, they've been tough and they've been a good challenge. But they're super fun. You get to travel around, go to NBA teams and see what you got.
So let's do this. I don't know if Jeff and Con, I don't know if you guys have talked about this. So Jeff, give us your pre-draft workout 30 years ago?
Almost 29.
29 years
Yeah.
ago? I want to know
Yeah.
what your pre-draft workout was, whatever it was, and then I want Con you to compare it to that. Because I'm curious how different it's changed. I mean, I know you're obviously totally different picks in the rounds and stuff, but
Right. So first off, I did not get invited to the pre-draft workouts. I went to Portsmouth Invitational Tournament, which is for seniors that aren't first round picks for the most part, and played in that, which was a great experience. I loved it. My team was a bunch of mid-major dudes and Todd Lindemann from Indiana, and we won the thing, and it really helped me. It got me. I mean, I was already on the map a little bit, but it opened some things up to some others that hadn't seen me. And I remember specifically Jerry West was there watching the whole time, and some different GMs like Con was talking about. It was fun to see GMs, if you're a basketball fan, these guys that were legendary or at least a big part of history in basketball. But so I did that, but did not get invited to the pre-draft stuff. So they did a little bit differently than they do now. But one thing that my agent said to me at that time is that, yeah, they pretty much have seen what you can do. They know where you're at. They know what you are. And so they only brought in I think they brought in 25 guys to the pre-draft stuff at that time. So it was a little bit less, I think, but nonetheless.
Are you talking about the combine?
Combine. Yes. The combine. Yep. It was called something different at that time, and it was like pre-draft, whatever. But then I only worked out for one specific team, Philadelphia. I remember meeting Mo Cheeks on that visit. It was I don't remember a whole lot of what we did in the workout, but it wasn't just me. It was a handful of guys. And one guy was there that let's see, Arkansas Little Rock, played for the Lakers. Bryant, lefty, played for the Lakers championship teams. He was a 96 grad. Arkansas Little Rock. Derek Fisher. Yes, thank you. He was there at the time as well. But I was excited about that because Philly had 3 second-round picks. So I thought, all right, they're bringing me in. They're going to check me out. And that was the only one that I was at. And then it was pretty much back in Green Bay working out to get ready for the draft that I had no clue if I was going to get drafted or not.
What pick were you? What pick were you? Did you get?
53rd.
51? 54?
I think 53rd.
How do you not know what draft pick you were? I mean, honestly.
Hold on. Contu's agent said, I promise you won't remember the number he was picked.
Right. Yeah.
And Jeff just proved that right.
Well,
his
is a little bit different than mine, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to best find it.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, I know. I'm on my. I can't remember. 53, I think. I don't know.
I'm finding it.
Really?
Here we go.
Yeah, just a second round.
53. I was right. Yep. 53rd overall. Anyway, but so Philly had 3 second-round picks. They early in the second round they picked a guy named, oh my gosh, from Oklahoma.
You've never been good with names, Jeff.
I tell the story all the time though. I can't believe I don't remember his name now. Anyway, they picked him. He was 6'5", 6'6", white dude. I'm like, all right, they're not picking me then. When they didn't. And the Bucks, we were about falling asleep at this. Were you over there, Chari?
Oh yes.
Yeah. And and then it happened, and we got all excited, and it was pretty fun.
Well,
and,
you don't know the other part of that is after all of the 76ers picks went, Grammy, our mom wrote in your name for the Bucks. She's like, "Yep, that's what it is." Yeah. Yep. So anyway, we were all falling asleep. It was like 1 a.m. because they did both rounds in the first.
Yep, right. Both rounds one day.
So
Ryan Miner was the guy's name. Ryan Miner, and he never played in the NBA, but he was the guy who replaced Cal Ripken at third base when Cal Ripken's streak ended. Ryan Miner, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, Con, what more exciting? Probably
little different.
We get to hear what I know you've been to a bunch of workouts. Are they all, for the most part, the same? Or are they completely different, just depending on team?
Each team has their like sort of shooting drill that they do, where they do like it'll be like 100 shots. For the most part, though, they're pretty similar. Like they want to see you defend a little bit. They want to see, at least for me, they want to see me in some like pick and roll action, making reads. Some teams have like a conditioner thing. But for the most part, they're pretty similar. I think it's interesting, Jeff, that you only had one, because, like guys now that I've talked to, like I did 5 workouts, which is on the lower end of total. There's guys that would be in Jeff's range that are doing like 20 workouts.
That's wild.
Wow.
And they're just,
it is. And because you're more locked into a range, Con, whereas guys that are like me are trying to show what they can do.
Right.
And teams don't know enough about them. And that was one of the things that my agent said is like, they know what you're going to bring. And I don't know if that was good or bad, or if they were lazy and not getting me to stuff or what, but it's certainly different than it was back then. Cause I don't think guys in my position back then were doing a dozen of them either.
Yeah.
Probably more than one, but not a dozen.
How much time, Con, when you go on these workouts and these like team visits and stuff, like, I don't know if you want to give me a percentage, or if you can, like, are workout on court, like you just said, drills based, and then kind of like socially answering questions, getting to know, the GMs or the people, the organization, the city, the team, whatever. What's the kind of the balance on that?
I mean,
I genuinely have no idea.
The workout's like an hour and a half, hour. So you're at the gym you're at the gym for probably a little bit before that, because then they'll have like testing and stuff. So it's probably like a 3-hour ordeal. But then the rest is like, you'll go to dinner with whoever. Normally it's, the executives or whoever's making the decisions. And so like, I'll get in, it'll be like the night before the workout, you'll have dinner, and then the next day you'll have your workout whenever it is, and then you leave pretty much. So it's, I would guess it's more little talking to the guys than it is actual work, but you're not there for very long.
Okay. Workouts have all gone well, I'm assuming. Like, I know you're hard on yourself, but do you think, like, have you left all the workouts like, yep, did great? Any, you know what I mean?
A lot of these workouts are very difficult.
Are they?
Especially doing it by yourself. So there's a few where you leave and you're like, I don't think anybody thinks they would have done well. So there's a couple where you feel like you suck. They try to,
yeah.
It's tough in a one-on-one workout, because these teams aren't going to see much of you that they don't know already in a one-on-one setting. So a lot of it is they try to push you, see how hard you're going to go, like see your shape. All that stuff is kind of what they try to get out of it, the intangibles, and how you are mentally. If you're mentally tough, then it is really like your skill, and if you make some shots.
Probably tough because you don't have anybody to compare yourself to and show that you're outperforming, and you don't have anybody to wait in line for the reps. So you're
right.
worn out.
Right. Exactly. Like, you're guarding interns that are, they're good players. They're Division I guys or overseas guys. Like, and then, they're shifting them in and out, and you're closing out to guard them every time. So you're getting tired. But it's a good challenge, and you keep pushing through. It's not really, like, I'm not going into the workout like, oh man, if I shot poorly, like, they know I can shoot.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
They don't care. So just showing that you're mentally tough. You're not going to react to a bunch of missed shots, or you mess up a couple closeouts. Like, they'll be all right. Move on.
Do they? I know you mentioned. I think you mentioned a little bit on Simmons' podcast about like, I guess they kind of talk to you about getting to, like basketball IQ, you can call it. Do they talk to you a lot about that? Like, if you took, because I know obviously you got a very, very high IQ, and we all know basketball players that don't have a high IQ. So like, if you look back at some of the stuff that you were asked, can you think of other players like there's no way these guys could have answered these questions? Was there stuff like that kind of was on it? And that's not putting him on the spot. That's just reality, right? There's low basketball IQ people, right? I'm just wondering, like the level of stuff that they ask you.
Yeah, I mean, like, and so I did a couple of film sessions, and probably a film session where, I'm talking through what our defensive coverage is, and this ball screen, and what we're doing on this certain situation, just watching film from our season or what I'm thinking in a play. And there's probably not a lot of guys that could there's probably some guys that probably can't articulate that the best, maybe, or explain their defensive coverage and why they're guarding a team like that. I don't know if it's not that I don't think it's necessarily that the guys don't understand that. Like, they got really good players, but like articulating why we're doing this, why we're icing this ball screen, or why we're attacking this team offensively in a certain way.
I mean, Jeff, is there a reason you smiled when I asked that question at all, or no?
Oh, I mean, I wasn't even thinking about college guys. I was just thinking about local players that you make fun of.
Well, yeah, that's true too. Well, no, but even like I think to myself, like if I were to,
when you play with us,
right? I'm like
Sam,
you'll tell me to do
move
stuff.
after you pass.
I'm like,
set
Jeff,
a screen for me.
That's not fair. I do move after I pass because like I know the one thing is just move at least. But like you'll tell me stuff, and I'm like, Jeff, I didn't play basketball at any level. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what you're trying to tell me. Like,
Sam, do you label these podcasts? Do you have like a label for them? Ever when you put them out, or are they just because what it should be is just move at least. That's what the label is. Just move
because I know if I stand there, first off, I'm not good enough to just stand there. And if I do stand there, then Jeff will yell at me. So I know to at least move at least. But no, but I think to myself, if I went through the interview process that Con just went through the last few weeks, and they asked me questions like that, I'd be like, I have no idea. And I watch a ton of basketball, but like, I feel like I'm more of like, I can see adjustments here and there, but like, I'm not a big X's and O's guy, right? Like, I don't like people ask me, like Craig, our buddy Craig will always ask, hey, you should coach AAU for me. I'm like, I don't want to coach. I'm a terrible coach. Like, so that's why I asked the question, because I'm interested. Just because you're good at basketball does not mean you understand the ins and outs of at that kind of level. Mm-hmm. So I know.
Now you're saying you're good at basketball too.
I just said I'm just saying in general, just because you're. Okay. Depends. It's all relative.
Okay.
I've made a big impact on Tanner's basketball 3-3, Jeff.
Yeah.
Are you ready to be done, Con? Are you basically like, let's get to next week and find out?
I mean, I pretty much am. I have a Zoom call here with the team this week.
Okay.
Tomorrow, and then I'm done, and I'm ready to go. Heading to Brooklyn on Monday.
Okay. I'm stressing out. My suit's not all the way tailored yet. I got to pick it up on Monday. I got to make sure my shirts match with it. Con's got me going to 3 things that I've got to be business casual. So I've got 2 sport coats and a suit. So I'm ready for it.
This is the first draft you're going to, right?
Yes, first draft. Yes. Yeah.
So Jeff, just multiply that times 7.
Right.
Got laid out
all those people. Yeah.
That actually was my next question. Are all the outfits picked out? Is everything lined up and ready to go for next week?
Yes, it's coming together. 3 of the suits will be delivered straight to New York.
Okay.
Or no, 4, because yours. I only have 2 of the suits here. My dress will be delivered on Friday, and here, which will be up in, Green Bay, or yeah. But yeah, so there's still a lot to do. Sunday it will all come together. That's what I'm hoping, because we fly out 6 a.m. on Monday.
What does that week look like for you, Con? And once Monday hits, what kind of?
I have no idea.
Oh, you haven't gotten an itinerary, no agenda yet at all?
I haven't looked at it. It's Wednesday.
I know. I know.
Okay.
I had another Zoom today and I've got it for him. We just haven't gone through it yet. So
Okay. Because
Yeah.
Jeff had mentioned he's got a bunch of things he's got to go to. I was curious what are those things that you're going to?
I should say I get to go to, not that
Get
I've
to,
got
yes.
to go to.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they are.
well, it's the
I don't want to
commissioner.
listen to my mom talk about them.
All right, I'll tell you. Commissioners luncheon at the Rainbow Room in Rockefeller Center on Wednesday at midday. Draft obviously in Wednesday evening. Tuesday night is the agency priority sports, right?
Mhm.
Yep. Agency having a dinner with the family and invitees of Con. Those are the things that I'm involved with. And then there's some hotel stuff going on as well.
There'll be a party after the draft at the hotel. Just a quick one because everybody else has to fly out early to go to basketball. And 3 of the guys, Kitty and Cash and Con 1, are flying to Charlotte for an AAU tournament. And we don't know where Con 2 and I will be flying to. And then Cager and Kinston will be flying to Madison for the UW team camp. So
Okay.
all early in the morning. So we're not having a party on Wednesday night. So we're gonna have a nice dinner on Tuesday night, and just in the hotel on Wednesday night after we'll have some wings and pizza.
Oh, I thought we were getting a limo and going to get
Go to Katz's?
Yeah, Katz's Deli to get some corned beef.
We just may do that too. We'll do whatever we want. We'll do whatever we want. But yeah, so and there's some he's got some appearances at places like some NBA things that he's got to do during the week. And he's got 3 workouts to do in the mornings. Yeah. So you just can't just go on vacation. He's got to work out. He's got gym time available in the mornings, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So, yeah, but we'll fly out. We'll fly out to wherever he's picked on Thursday, come home for a couple days maybe, and then off he goes Monday.
Who's more nervous?
That's
I knew
goes
that
without
answer.
asking. Goes
Yeah, I
without
knew that
saying.
answer. Are you nervous?
Yeah.
No nerves at all, Connor? You feel good? You're
I'm not nervous right now.
Yeah.
At all.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't really get nervous and worried about stuff until they come up. I try to do a good job of compartmentalizing what I'm doing for the day. So I'll probably, like, once you get out to Brooklyn, I'll probably start thinking about it a little bit more. But these teams don't really give you a good impression of what they're feeling while you're on these visits. Like,
That's wild to me, really. So you have no feel at all, really?
no idea.
They keep it close.
Crazy.
Test, yeah.
It's way different than a recruiting visit, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
They show you
Right.
how much they want you. This is just a
I
trying
get
to
it.
take it in, learn. Yeah.
Wow. You think you just get a little bit of a vibe. No vibe at all. Nothing like,
No, I mean, you get the vibe that they like you.
yeah.
Like, they don't get the vibe that they like you more than another guy.
Because
It'd be nice to know if a team said, if you're available at 5,
Right.
we're going to
Yeah.
take you.
Correct.
Or Spurs saying we're going to trade up so that we have the number 2 and the number 4, and we're going to take you at 4. Or we're going to trade
What
down.
are they trading to get the 4?
Huh?
I said, what are they trading to get to the 4?
They got some people.
Uh,
They are trading down out of the
there you
2.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
I got a zip lip on that.
He's
I
gonna
know.
make anything work.
I'm trying to ask questions that don't give anything away. I don't want to pry on anything
You
that
can ask whatever you want, and I'm not giving anything away. So.
I appreciate that. That's fair. Are you have you had time to follow the Duke incoming class?
No.
Oh, there goes that. Scratch that off the note.
No, I have not really. I talked to Darren today, Darren Harris, about how the first 2 days have gone. I talked to Shire a little bit yesterday. I talked to Coach Dildy a little bit today, but I haven't really talked. I mean, they're only 2 days in. I haven't really heard how guys are doing. They're just doing individual workouts right now. It's not like you're not learning much now. I think Shire's out.
All right,
Week of summer workouts. So, they didn't hear that joke.
No, you guys froze.
Did you guys hear that?
You guys froze
froze up.
10 seconds.
Oh, I said that Shire is gone the whole first week of summer workouts, so he makes the Final Four and he's just big time in it. But yeah, we'll I'll keep in touch with the guys and see how they're doing. You know, I don't really know many of the guys or met any of the new guys coming in, so I don't really have any good information to tell you.
Have you kept in touch with Cooper, Kaman, Proctor, Sion throughout this process? All the guys.
Yeah, I mean, more so with Cooper and Kaman. And then I saw Tyrese in Utah, so I got to catch up with him a little bit. And I talked to Sion once, but I haven't seen him much. But you know, I'll make sure to reach out to all those guys here again soon. We keep in pretty close contact. So
okay.
Yeah.
Jeff, you have any questions for your nephew?
No, I was texting with him today, so we got our stuff out of the way.
Oh, way to save it for the podcast. Good job.
Wasn't podcast worthy.
Oh, okay.
So did you win another Holy Cross championship?
I'm sure that's been talked about the last 2 months on this podcast, probably.
You know what? Not as much as it should have been. Not
Okay.
as much as it should have been, because I think I realized I did something that has never been done in the history of Holy Cross, and that is win back-to-back titles with two completely different rosters. Correct? Is that probably correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so the same sponsor, just two different rosters.
Yeah, but it's the same GM. Like, can I get a little bit of credit here? I didn't get to play in the NBA, okay?
Yes, I did want to ask. So who won the MVP?
Xavion Mitchell.
And who won the most popular player?
Zach Kinziger. I thought we talked about this when Caden cut their hair when we were down there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Maybe we did.
Definitely did.
Did we? Okay. All right. Well, getting haircuts again in 2 days. So, we can talk about more of that then.
Yeah,
too.
we'll be up in Appleton watching Wisconsin Lutheran back-to-back defending state champions.
That's great. We could maybe talk about that a little bit.
We should, because in two different divisions.
Sherry, you remember this probably. I think we've talked about it before. It was, the WBY was last weekend. And I remember last year, Lutheran lost to Neenah like 30-29 in one of the ugliest games I've ever watched. And I remember coming over to you and Con won. And I'm like, might be a long season. And you're like, yup. Thankfully we have Duke. And then you win the title again, which is, it's wild to me. I never would have predicted that.
I think that was a lot of people outperforming what was expected.
Yes.
You think? Seniors, I think
Maybe
seniors.
the expectations were a little low.
Maybe maybe we just stunk in the summer. I don't. But
well, it's summer league, right?
Seniors saw how to do it, and then Xavier was just unstoppable.
Yeah.
And then Cager did, just enough, defensively, and just enough to fill a role to make us good.
I think Z dominating and Cager making a huge jump from the summer to the season.
Yeah.
At least the parts that I saw him in the summer, but I know that the WBY can be a little bit hard to evaluate because they play too many games.
Yeah.
And don't necessarily always play. I don't want to say the players don't play to win, but the coaches don't necessarily play to win all of the games.
Coaches are playing players to
evaluating and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, June doesn't matter at all.
Well, Connie, I think you guys lost to Germantown in June of you going into your senior year.
No. We lost to Marquette.
I might have taken stats. I don't know.
Lost to Marquette.
So, yeah. So there's different things that happen, but yeah, and the big guy that I was talking about earlier, Jamel, I don't think he's playing this weekend.
We're talking about Jamel. We got to keep him a secret.
Too late. Well, I guess not. I guess I don't have to post the podcast if we want to just keep it all a secret, but
No, I mean Wisco's going to be massive. I don't know if you guys talked about it already, but
Yeah, we did.
They're going to be.
I saw the highlights from the Marquette camp, and I'm like, who is this big dude?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got him, and you got Kinston at the 4, and Z at 3, and Cager at your 2.
6'9".
wild.
They're going to be all right. They're going to be all right with the size there.
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna be very good.
Yeah. Yes.
Which
is not what we were saying last year at this time, and we won it last year.
Yeah,
but,
right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jeff mentioned like Cager made a huge jump. Xavier, I thought, made a huge jump too last year. Like, I mean, he was good, but he got.
Well, he was injured for 9 months. He was injured for 9 months, so like he didn't, have a whole year to even.
Well, and you knew he was good. It's just sometimes the role is not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
the role when he was playing with Con was to
It's
defer. And I think the coaching staff at Wisconsin Lutheran knew Xavier was going to be a stud. I don't know if they knew Cager was going to be as good as he became when we're talking about where he was at in the summer. And that's why I said the leap that that Cager made was big from the summer to the season, whereas Xavier, I didn't say the leap was as big, but the performance and the role that Xavier had to play as a senior as a junior than what he did when Con was a senior was totally different. And he stepped up to that. And I think Sam, we compared numbers.
I was going to ask Sherry if she knew the stat line.
Yeah. The junior year numbers are ridiculously similar.
Do you know what they are, Sherry? Have you heard this or no?
No, but I lived through both, so I wonder what they are.
From 3, Con2 was 68 for 132.
This was Con's junior year.
Con's junior year. Xavier was 68 for 133.
Get out of town.
Isn't that crazy?
You know what that means? We didn't shoot enough of them.
Enough.
Probably,
yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Good.
I couldn't believe it. Me and the boys were talking about it. I'm like, I want to look at what those two shot. Because I know Con shot really well junior year from 3. I'm like, I want to look at Xavier shot. I knew he was over 50. I'm like, I can look at these and how they compare. That blew me away. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
hopefully he doesn't drop down to like 40% this year like you did. No, I don't know. What was your senior year? What was your senior year 3-point shooting?
39.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta look at the types of shots you're shooting though. It's different.
I know.
No, I think Coach Walls has done an excellent job we changed our offense my senior year. But the kids just know how to play. Like they're running this Princeton point stuff with the big at the free throw line, and they just run it super well, and the guys know where to go with the ball and know how to read cuts and screens, and it's really fun basketball to watch. So he's just done a really, really good job of implementing that, and it makes it a lot easier to go into these games because you're going to get good shots because it's hard stuff to guard in high school. Kids aren't used to guarding off ball like they'll have to when they come and play Wisco, and then it's going to be different when Wisco's going to be posting up 2 through 5, and you're not going to have anybody tall enough. Like the centers are going to be the same height as Kinston, who's 6'5", and he's the shortest of the 4 big guys in there.
That's wild.
Pretty fun.
Yeah. All right. I don't want to take any more of your time. I appreciate it. I mean, we've been on here long enough, so I don't want to.
My battery's about to die.
Yeah, that's fine.
You weren't plugged in?
No, I got a new computer. I figured it would last 2 hours. What's the deal?
There's no outlet by your nice background there.
There is, but my cord is 2 stories up.
I got to go watch the league, and Andrew Bruging's league. So I'm gonna go and scout for you.
No, I talked to Andrew on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm gonna go scout for you, see if there's any high school guys playing that are gonna be good enough for the Unintentional a year or 2.
I would appreciate it. That's very good.
I'm gonna go get Xavier Zenz though. I think
one of you told me already. He said yes. Jeff, did you say he said yes, or Con said? Did you say he said yes?
Cammy or Greg or Cammy or Greg said he said yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you finish that off this weekend when you see him.
Yeah.
In Appleton. Yeah.
Good deal.
He wants to play with Dawson. Dawson's team and Race, Dawson and Race and Xavier. Me.
Don't screw up my team. You're gonna have your Legends team.
Huh.
All right, Uncle Jeff, are you home this weekend?
Oh, unfortunately, I mean, we're gonna go have some fun in Michigan with some Michigan Tech fans. I'm sad we won't be able to see you, but Dawson will be here and Langdon will be here.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And you'll see him the next day.
Right. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing
Tuesday.
Langdon and Dodge.
Yep.
It'll be good. All righty.
Appreciate it, Con, as always.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I'll see you Friday and talk to you Friday. Obviously,
All
good luck with everything, but I'll see you
All
then.
right, see ya. Thank you.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Sherry. Thanks, Jeff.
See you guys.
See you guys.